I'm going to quickly show you how I use my Pest Control's electric backpack sprayer to do DIY mosquito spraying at my own house. I'm in Houston, Texas, and the mosquitoes can get really bad down here, especially if you live by the water. So a lot of people pay for mosquito service that comes every 2 or 3 weeks, but those costs can really get out of hand quickly, and it's really not something that's that hard to do yourself. So that's why I'm going to walk you through it. Essentially, you're going to need 2 things to kind of form your solution. So one is going to be an insecticide. You see here I have the Flex 1010 insecticide. This is what works well in my area. You can do some research on what might work best in your area. This is what's going to kill the active mosquitoes. And then the second one is a growth regulator. So this is Teca Pro. Again, this is something that was recommended for my area specifically, and it controls mosquitoes along with a couple other things. But this is going to help kill the eggs and keep them from hatching, and really just kind of more preventative to kind of help combat the mosquito population from growing in general around your house. So the first thing we'll do is just take off our lid and our filter, and we'll put in our solutions. So both these bottles have a kind of a self-measuring portion of it built into the bottle itself. You're going to want to look at how much space you're going to need to cover, and that'll give you a formula of how much of the solution per how much water you're going to put into your mixer. For me, I'm going to use about 1.5 ounces, so I've got it measured out here in this top portion of 1.5 ounces, and then you can just take your cap off and pour that portion into your backpack sprayer. Next, I'll do the growth regulator. So I've got 1 ounce of this put into this top portion here. And yes, you can do the insecticide and the growth regulator at the same time. So we'll go ahead and pour that into our backpack sprayer as well. I'll just use my garden hose to mix our water in. I usually try to kind of release the water in there violently at first, just with the spray basically, to make sure that the solutions that you put in there gets kind of all mixed up. Again, your water to solution ratio is going to depend on the size of your yard, what you're treating for, how often you treat, all of those kind of factors that you'll have to figure out your exact ratio. Important tips before we get started: you're definitely going to want to make sure you've got a loop in your power cord tied here on the side like this, and that's just so if you do get caught on something with your cord and your extension cord while you're walking around, it pulls at this point right here instead of trying to pull the power cord out of the motor itself. Before we turn the power on to our sprayer itself, we're going to make sure to open up our valve here that lets our solution come through the tube and up to the nozzle here. We never want to have this motor running dry without the solution going through it. And then same thing in reverse. Before we close the valve for the solution coming out, we'll turn the power off first and then shut your valve here. I'd also highly recommend wearing a pair of safety goggles as you're using this. The chemicals aren't toxic or anything, but definitely when you're using a sprayer like this and you're spraying up and down and around different things with the wind, or if you just spray the wrong way, it might hit something and come back at you. And you want to keep that stuff from kind of splashing and getting into your eyes for sure. Getting the backpack on by yourself can be a little tricky when it's all full. So if you can get it lifted up onto like a truck tailgate, that's very helpful to get it kind of to your back height, and then put it on. And also even easier would be to put it up on the truck tailgate empty, and actually that's where you fill it up with water. So that way you can lift it up while it's light, and then it'd be at your level to put on your back when it's full. To turn it on, it's very simple. You've got your valve for your nozzle here. If you look closely, you do actually have an off indication here, and then you've got 3 levels, 1, 2, or 3. So we'll just, like I said, turn this on first. I'll turn it all the way on, and then you just hit your switch to get power to your system. When I'm spraying for mosquitoes, I like to focus on the bottom side of all the shrubs and bushes around my house, as well as my patio ceilings and eaves. Mosquitoes like to lay their eggs on the bottom side of things, so this is typically the most effective way to kill the existing mosquitoes, but also prevent the new ones from hatching. One of the great things about this sprayer is the range it has. You can easily reach 10 to 15 feet above you, whether it's ceilings or eaves or into the trees. And you can also reach 10 feet away. That way you don't have to spread your extension cord all the way to those corners of your yard. To turn the system off, like we mentioned before, you just hit your switch to turn off your motor. And then once that's off, you can cut off the access to the solution coming through the hose. When I'm all done, I just typically hang up my sprayer on the wall in the garage. If I have any solution left over in there, I usually just leave it in there. It'll be good for the next time you use it in a couple weeks. Obviously, if you're gonna be stopping to spray for the rest of the season or for a couple months, something like that, then I would make sure I use it all before I put it up on the wall again.